Kansas City Chiefs, last-second field goal to win the Super Bowl, defeating Philadelphia Eagles by 3 points. So Andy Reid wins another Super Bowl, both of them with Mahomes, made it there with Donovan McNabb of the Eagles as well. It kind of got us to thinking. So let's take a look. All-time winningest head coaches in playoff history, and we'll tell you who their quarterbacks are. And Bill Belichick, 31. A lot of the wins with Tom Brady as his quarterback. Andy Reid had Donovan McNabb and Pat Mahomes. He now has 22 second all-time. Tom Landry, 20. That was Roger Staubach as his quarterback. Don Shula, 19. He had Bob Greasy and Dan Marino. Joe Gibbs, 17. And it's kind of interesting. He had Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, Mark Rippon. So, again, decent quarterbacks. Not quite the level of the other guys that we're going to talk about as well. Chuck Noll, 16. He had Terry Bradshaw. Mike Holmgren, 13. Brett Favre for most of them. Tom Coughlin, 12. He had Eli Manning. Bill Cowher, 12. He had Ben Roethlisberger. And Dan Reeves is 10th, and he had John Elway for most of those. Let's welcome in Scott Petrak, Browns beat reporter for the Elyria Chronicle-Telegraph, as well as BrownsZone.com. So, Scott, the bottom line is, and the reason I wanted to bring this up is, if you do not have a quarterback, you are not winning at a high level. And you want to know why the Browns have struggled and found a quarterback since probably Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The coach and quarterback are forever linked. It's the number one, in my opinion, quarterback, followed by coach, are the 1 and 2 reasons for success in the NFL, especially sustained success. You know, you don't see a guy like Brian Billick on that list because he had Trent Dilfer. He had the best defense maybe in the history of football. They won 1 Super Bowl because they didn't have a quarterback, right? And I think that's consistent throughout decades and probably more true now than ever, given the rules that favor the offense. So, yeah, you know, I don't think you can adequately judge any coach, and that includes Kevin Stefanski, until he has time with what you think is a legitimate starting quarterback.
And that would be Deshaun Watson. If you're giving up, 3 first-round picks, all the other assets that you gave up, and you're paying them $230 million, that is guaranteed. You have said, this guy is our guy.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, that was their mission after the 2021 season, right? It was to upgrade significantly from Baker Mayfield. And they targeted Deshaun Watson. And they landed him, and he better be the guy. If he's not, you're probably going to have a new coach. You might even have a new front office. They believe Deshaun Watson can put them in the discussion with teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles. Now, what's interesting about the Eagles is, Jalen Hurts is a young quarterback that I don't know if anybody heading into this year had the expectations that he would play at the level that he did. Nearly an MVP during the regular season. Certainly would have been MVP if the Eagles had hung on to win that game. Played fantastic last night with, the exception of the fumble that was returned for a touchdown. But it just goes back to the point that he played great, the Eagles played great, and they make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and again, it will be interesting to see. There's not going to be a long runway for Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson. They need to get it right pretty quickly.